Hello and welcome to day 93. Day 93 of 365 days. So I don't know why my camera, it's like angled down on this tripod. I haven't figured out a way to fix it. I do fix it and then it comes back down. I'm just like, you know what? We're just gonna roll with it. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it makes me look thinner, whatever, who cares? We're here for the vibe. Okay, so I am feeling the feminine juices. Today I did my first feminine practice in my office / feminine practice room, and it felt really good. Felt really good to move my body erotically and sexually and sensually and feel into myself. And let me tell you, it was like a burst of like Shakti, which Shakti is just like sexual energy, which also feels like pleasure and sensation circulating throughout my body. It felt so good. I was like, woo, oh my God, like, yes. I'm like, girl, like, yes, finally we're here in my home and I can activate this like that, like, holy bejesus. It felt so good. And clearly, I'm really excited to be in this energy because I have Sex Priestess coming up starting on Saturday, July 27th. And I'm really excited to share and to, let me see, why did the light go off dim like that? Is my phone hot? My phone feels hot for some reason. Whatever. Me and my phones, I always have some sort of issue with iPhones. Anyways, with technology as it is. As I have Sex Priestess coming up this weekend. So Sex Priestess is for the woman who is seeking to connect to the depths of her erotic pleasure and spiritually connect to her feminine body for transcendental orgasms and sexual experiences with God and her king. And when I say God, what this really means is your relationship to yourself and to your whatever it is that you believe in. I use God because for me that's my experience. And for women to have this direct relationship with the Father, with the masculine beloved, with God, in this way is extremely healing and really helps to be in the energetics of your feminine, because we are the embodiment of the mother creatrix, right? So being in that direct relationship with God and cracking open and surrendering more to God when it comes to your sexuality, it's the closest thing that I have ever gotten whenever to God. The times that I feel the closest to God is during my sacred sexuality practices, when I'm really in my body, when I'm really in the depths of it. Like today when I was connecting, when I did my erotic dance, it felt so alive, so good. And that's when like there's an energy where I am just like connected. I am connected to God. And the music just helps me get there. I need to take a sip of water. My throat feels a little dry. I had this spicy food. So I'm not sure if it just kind of... So in this energy is where I have personally felt the closest to God, and in my discoveries, why I feel it's been the way that I have been able to get closest to God, and why a lot of women also feel really close to God when they do this type of work, because it is your primal energy. It is connected to the first two chakras that you have in your body, your root chakra and your sacral chakra. It is where we come from. It is how we are created. It is how our soul decides, okay, I'm going into this body, into this couple who decided to have sex, and my soul is going into this woman's womb that was created by the spark of this man, of the seed, the spark of life of seed in this man's seed, this is where we come from. This is our genesis. So when we are not in right relationship with our sexuality, with our eroticism, with our pleasure, with our orgasm, and all of the sensations and the vulnerability that it requires for a woman to be in this space, you are cutting yourself off from you, from your own creation and your own creator, whatever it is that you believe. So this is the work that we're going to be doing inside of Sex Priestess, which starts July 27th. I'm going to talk more about it in the end, or I'm just going to talk about it now as I get into the transmission, and then I'll just remind you at the end. So it is a 6-week mistress mind for the woman who is seeking what I just mentioned earlier. And this is going to be a very close community of women. I'm maxing it out. I'm capping it at 10 women. And there's 6 left. 3 Zoom transmissions, 3 coaching calls. We're going to be inside a Telegram so that as you're doing the practices that I give you, you can connect inside the Telegram, ask your questions, tell us about what you're experiencing, let me know about your resistance. I will coach and mentor you through. And because we have a community of women, all these women are on the same path, and we're each going to calibrate to each other and learn from each other's experiences. Especially with something so intimate like this, it's really good to know that we're not alone and that we are supported by other women, other womb to womb support with each other. Dripping Pleasure is included, which is a 10-day mini course where there's 7 practices in there to get you into start practices to connect you to your body, to your sexuality and sexual polarity when it comes with men. Because the way your relationship outside the bedroom is going to impact your relationship in the bedroom. And I want to make sure that we are on the right track with that for you. And yeah, and we're also going to get very intimate with your yoni. Like, we're going to be getting deep in there, and you're going to need a yoni wand, which I will email you a recommendation upon sign up. So those are the things, those are the logistics of it. It's $999 or I believe it's $399 for 3 monthly payment plan. So if you're interested in that, you can do either one. If you do sign up in full, you will get a one-on-one coaching call with me, which is worth $222. And we get to dive in there and really give you an expedited breakthrough. That's what happens when we hop on a call together. You're going to have a breakthrough with your sexuality and with men. So today, I'm going to talk about the archetype, the enchantress archetype, the awakened enchantress archetype that is beckoning you to heal your sexuality, to heal your relationship with your body and your pussy and your womb, and to heal your relationship. I forgot to put my phone on silent. Hold on. Okay, there we go. So the enchantress, I always have a hard time saying that. The enchantress archetype, the awakened version of her, is beckoning for you to get on the path of sexual healing, sexual liberation, to be in right relationship with your feminine body, every part of you that makes you a woman, your breast, your womb, your pussy, like all your curves, all of the things, and get into right relationship with the masculine, with men, with their cock, with their sex, all of it. Because this archetype is lying dormant in so many women, or has been suppressed because of either that's what they grew up with, or throughout time they have gone to the shadow side of it and was too sexually promiscuous and really had a leaky energy when it came to this archetype. Therefore, painful experiences happen, unhealthy relationships with men happen, certain beliefs started and certain vows could have been said about men and sex, and then this area became suppressed into the corner and became dormant. And when that happens, there is a part of you that can feel it. You can feel the resistance to sex. You can feel the resistance to sexuality. You can feel the resistance to adult playtime. You can feel the resistance in how you want to express yourself in your body. Even if you've already awakened certain parts of you that are more authentic and unleashed, there's still an area that feels that it's not safe to step into this space. But the thing is that this archetype is very holy, very divine, very erotically innocent. This archetype is also powerful. This archetype is confident. Oh my God, look at the hearts. Normally I always get like a thumbs up, but I got the hearts this time. Are you seeing that? And which is great for this specific thing that I'm saying, because the enchantress is surrendered in the bedroom. She can be dominant. She can play around with that power aspect. But it's a space that is divinely expressed. And it's a space that is a healing medicine for both her and for her man. And the thing is that a lot of women have not learned how to ignite their own pleasure. Let me see if I can put that there. Just got my notes here. When I look down here, I'm referencing my notes. The thing is that it lies dormant within us because of suppression, and also because of we have not been taught as women how to really ignite this pleasure outside of a vibrator, which I highly recommend that you get rid of all of your vibrators, all of them. A man cannot compete with the vibrator. He cannot compete with the vibrator. And it really desensitizes you as a woman. And even though you can probably get some crazy high sensation, high intensity, I don't even say high sensation, high intensity orgasms, because you can get really high sensation orgasms with your man, with your own bodies. But the vibrator is I want to say, there's a word that's slipping my mind, not stimulator. It's fake. It's fake stimulation. There's no way that a human being can actually stimulate that kind of, that type of speed. And what it teaches women is that it teaches women fast and quick orgasm. It teaches them to draw away from their own sexuality. I mean, from their own turn, like of how they like to be turned on, of the water that needs to be boiled to turn on. It's very much equivalent to what a man experiences with porn. It's the same thing. A woman cannot compete with that. A woman cannot do that all the time or be like that. It's performative, and it desensitizes a man to those visuals, those very intense visuals, and let's be honest, it's edited, it's a film, it's production, right? So we have not been taught how to really ignite our own turn on from within, from this place of like I did today in this room of just erotically dancing with myself. When I am erotically dancing with myself, I am deep connection with myself and God. And turn on has been a place of shame that has been casted on to definitely in the Christian communities and the Christian religion and the Catholic religion. And I'm not sure about any of the other religions, but I can tell you for sure, and in the Jewish religion, it definitely has been a form of shame that has been placed on men and women. And turn on and pleasure has been exploited through porn, through music videos, through movies, through what we hear in music. It's been exploited. The feminine sexuality has been exploited. It has extracted anything holy from her in the public eye. Anything that's divine in the public, anything that was medicine for men, medicine for herself. And when I say medicine for men, I want you to understand that as a woman who is in devotion, who's in a devotional path, who's in devotion to her partner, who's on this path of calling in her sacred union, your sex is medicine for him. Which is why it's so important in who you choose to sleep with, because of the energy exchanges that are happening at a very spiritual level, and what happens for you as a woman who is in the receptive pole to that. So, but also why you choose to have a partner that you really love, that you really are safe with, so that you can be medicine for your man in the highest form of love, in the highest form of devotion, in the highest spiritual service for him. Do you get what I'm saying here? Do you get what I'm saying here? So we have not learned how to be comfortable with our own body, with our own pleasure and our own turn on. And I get that. For me, the first time that I was playing around with this, it was like really awkward. It was really clunky. It was like embarrassing. I would say that. I would say the word embarrassing. Borderline almost shameful of what it felt like, even though I was in the privacy of my own home. That's all the programming that we have, that has been all the programming, all the conditioning, and what's been carried down the generational line and through our own lived experiences in the world. So I can get why this makes people uncomfortable, and I can get why anyone would be hesitant to start on this path of healing of sexual healing, because we have to move through that shame, and we have to move through that embarrassment that comes up, and we have to, you are faced with getting so intimate with yourself, that it feels very inadequate. You feel inadequate in your own skin in the beginning, until you work through it. You don't push through it. You work through it. You work with it. You start releasing the energies, the memories, the pain, the traumas. You allow yourself to feel uncomfortable and push yourself to the edge that feels comfortable, and then you come back, right? It's a gentle process, but can be an uncomfortable process because of shame, of sexuality being so shamed. But the thing is that sex is sacred. Sex is sacred. If it weren't sacred, it's not how babies would be born. Every baby is a miracle. Literally, a miracle. If sex was not sacred, you wouldn't have this divine intelligence in your womb, in your ovaries, in your egg. If sex wasn't sacred, a man's sperm would not have the spark of life in it. Because a woman cannot get pregnant on her own, unless you're talking about radical conception or miraculous conception, which is a whole different spiritual thing that I don't know a lot about. But a man's seed is needed for a woman's egg to fertilize in her womb. And in those two microscopic things, biology, a human life is formed and then birthed through the canal of a woman, the vaginal canal of a woman, and then a baby is born. And then this baby grows. That's a miracle. That is a miracle. So how can sex be wrong? It can't. It can't. It cannot. Sex is healing. Sex is sacred. Sex is pleasure. And in a world of duality, you can have the flip side of that, where it's shamed upon, where it's exploited and used very wrongfully. But it's not wrong on its own. In the most pure form of it, it is not. And sexual healing is a requirement for your evolution of love. It is going to be a requirement for you and your sacred union partner. It is a requirement for you to purify your vessel if you are single and you're wanting to be and direct. You want to be with the love of your life, with a sacred union partner. Not just any man, not just a guy that, okay, I like you, you like me, let's get married. It's not that. I'm talking about sacred union partnership. For this, if you're in this path of calling in your sacred union love, it is a requirement for you to be on a sexual healing path. It will happen either before or during. As my story, my story, the sexual healing part didn't really happen until me and Ron, after a couple of years of being together. But I knew for a fact that I was not going to allow any man inside my body unless he came right. So I made a vow to myself, actually. I made a vow to myself that I wasn't going to let her run the show anymore. I wasn't going to let my enchantress archetype run the show because I actually had no power over her. Because the last time that she had power, she was very leaky, right? And it attracted the wrong partner. It attracted a man that was the catalyst for my greatest awakening, for sure. So I'm very grateful for that. I wouldn't undo anything in my life. And when I made that vow, it definitely cleaned up and closed up a lot of different energies within my system. And that is why I was on this path. Why Ron, one of the many reasons why Ron came into my life so quickly. Because I was, besides all of the work that I have done and I continue to do, I knew that my body was sacred. And I'm not going to allow any person just in it. So if you're on this path of calling in your partner, you really need to ask yourself, are you treating your body like a sacred vessel? Are you getting your body ready for him? Are you getting your body ready for him? And even in my partnership, because I was only single for 3 months, with my ex, I remember not giving my body to him anymore, in the sense of, if I wasn't into it, I wasn't going to just do it to do it. It was a very clear statement of mine. For me, I was like, I'm not going to just do it just to do it. I'm going to do it because there's something in me that really wants to do it. And I don't think we had sex for like a month maybe, or something close to that, or it's very spread out, because I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore to myself, right? So I was already starting the sexual healing path. I just went to I went to a suppressed area, which at the point was needed for me. And then I started to awaken this dormant part of me, awaken the enchantress archetype with Ron. So this is why I say it's a requirement for you on the path to this level of love. Eventually you're going to hit that road where it's calling you to, hello, wake me up, because it's going to be an issue in your relationship, which is what happened with me. So if you are single and you know that you're in this area of suppression with your sexuality, with a numbness to it, with an uncomfortableness with your body and to be with a man, or there is a rejection to men and to sex because of past, like, this is a really important piece when you are ready. When you are ready, this is an extremely important piece for the path of sacred union love. So, I'm just looking at my notes. So in this path, it's about learning to ignite pleasure within you. This enchantress archetype is really about creating sovereignty with your own pleasure, part of this, which is an important part of any sacred union relationship, for both partners to have a sovereign relationship with their sexuality and the energy of sex. And with this archetype, it's about being able to ignite your pleasure within you and to have feminine practices that allow you to awaken pleasure within you and to extend the level of pleasure and to allow pleasure to come in. When you get to this space with your sexual healing, it's about allowing more pleasure in. Pleasure is love, right? Love is not on the side of suffering and struggle. Love is on the side of pleasure, joy, happiness, expansion, gratitude, cracked open heart, surrender, devotion. Sex is a portal, a gateway for allowing more pleasure in. This is why sex is important in relationships. This is why when there's something off in the relationship, it's going to show in your sex life. When there's something going on in your sex life, in your personal life, in your personal relationship, and it's not solved, it's going to show up in your sex life, because something is blocking you from receiving love in, right? One of the reasons that I was dodging sex was because I knew that in order for me to be unleashed, it meant that I had to crack my heart open even more. I needed to reach a deeper level of love with Ron. And I was scared of that. I was scared of what could have happened. I was scared because of just the past, because even if when I would say it out loud, it was like I knew Ron was safe. I knew I could crack my heart open more to him. But it was these fears from before, and other things in our relationship too that we needed to just tighten up. So when turning yourself on is a beautiful, feminine, spiritual practice. It is, God, it gets you so connected with yourself and so embodied with your woman. It's that level of comfortableness when you walk into a room and people sense that. They're like, she's so, it's an energy that is not necessarily about what you do, it's about who you be. Because you can have women walk into a room and you can tell they have a slap on of arrogance and this kind of cocky confidence. That's not her being comfortable in her own skin. She's actually very uncomfortable in her. As someone who's arrogant and cocky, I'm telling you right now, they are so uncomfortable in their own body, in their own skin, in their own human. I know because I was that too. I know because I was that too. They're very insecure. There's a level of security within you when you are in this place of being so comfortable with your own pleasure and inviting more pleasure in. And when you're in this space, it naturally oozes out in your relationship with your man. And this oozing energy naturally will co-create the best sex of your life. Because he can feel you. He can feel you're unleashed. He can feel how comfortable you are with your own body, how intimate you can get with your own body. That's a high spiritual practice, high feminine spiritual practice. And when he feels that, it inspires him to give you pleasure, to lead you to higher levels of ecstasy in the bedroom. It fuels him in a good way where he wants to add more to what you are already experiencing. And of course, it gives pleasure to him too. And this combination will give you amazing and will give you a spiritual sexual experience. A spiritual sexual experience where when you're done, you're like, whoa, what happened? Long-lasting orgasms, cracked open, and your souls become closer, right? There's more like fun and happiness and joy in your relationship, and this connectedness that you're like, oh my God, fuck, I love this man. And he's like, oh my God, fuck, I love this woman. This is what's available for you when you unlock the enchantress. When you bring her into the light, take her out of the closet, bring her to the light. She is holy, she is powerful, she is confident, she is surrendered, she is pleasure. She is a gateway for more love into your life. Okay, I gotta get going. It's 2:46. I have a client call at 3. So if you are interested in Sex Priestess, I'm gonna leave the link up here in the description so you can go ahead and playfully explore, read all the things. If you have any questions, message me. I would love to answer your questions. And yeah, see if this is the right container for you. If you want to play a little bit and kind of experience what we're going to be getting into, you can also I'm losing the name, Dripping Pleasure. You can also join Dripping Pleasure, which is a self-paced 10-day mini course. It's $155. And if you decide to join Sex Priestess, you will get the credited for it. Sex Priestess starts July 27th. I will keep the doors open just for 1 week. So if you join Dripping Pleasure and you're feeling a little rushed about whether to go in, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You have up until August, I guess 3rd. 3rd would be that Saturday, like in the morning, but really August 2nd to join. And there are 7 practices, so you don't have to rush to get them all done in order to join Sex Priestess. You can do Sex Priestess. And I'm only having, there's 3 Zoom transmissions and a couple of practices, a couple of very sacred practices that we're going to be doing. So you can definitely sprinkle in dripping pleasure in the times that we're not, that I don't have you doing anything specific. There will be space for that, or you can do it afterwards. So there is no rush. And if you join Sex Priestess, again, you can do dripping pleasure as you're weaving in and out of you can weave dripping pleasure in and out of Sex Priestess. So yeah, message me. I would love to have you. Only 6 spaces are left. And yeah, I'm gonna get ready for my call. All right. Love you. Bye.